So, but there is something that caught my eye or my nose on the internet. And it started with an email, went to this website, and it looked interesting to me, but I'm not sure it really works. And I'm not sure if it can be retrofitted or if it's a whole thing. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. They're on Kickstarter. I'm not completely clear on how Kickstarter works. Like, what do you get for Kickstarter? Is it are you an owner? Do you buy stock? What is it? Paul, have you looked at Kickstarter? Have you seen it? Where guys go on and
first time I heard about it was about 7 seconds ago. So
really, Kickstarter. It's a website where people go on and kickstart their programs. It's like they raise capital. But anyway, we'll talk to Victor about. He's the CEO of something I think almost every woman in the world would love if it's true. And there are some men who suffer as well. The odorless toilet. Now, I have to tell you, there are times that you're at someone's home or they're at yours, and it can ruin a friendship. We're talking about some serious damage. And you almost think, well, if that person can do that, then there must be something really, really raunchy about that. I mean, we tend to judge people based on that. So I want to know, first of all, how do you take the odor out of a toilet? You know, toilets, you know how they work. Well, you know, there's the water and the flush, and there's a pee trap.
There's a mint every once in a while.
A what?
A little deodorant mint.
Oh yeah, in the side, or they put them in the tank or the colored water. But the odor comes out of that bowl, right? I mean, it comes out of the bowl. I mean, that's what it does. And another thing, a side note on toilets, which I often wondered why. They're like megaphones. They amplify sound, so it's even worse if you're in a public restroom or you're at work and somebody, because it's like, never mind. Let's talk to Victor Ray. Victor?
Yes, sir.
So why did you come up with this odorless toilet? First of all, is it a whole toilet or an adaptation to toilets?
No, this is actually a retrofit for just about any toilet in existence today.
I can make my toilet odorless. I didn't realize. Okay, so I don't have to buy a whole toilet.
No, those are out there, though. It costs you about $2,300 to install one.
Wait.
You can't take it with you.
There are truly toilets out there. But what makes your toilet, your adapter, what makes it odorless?
Okay, as you know, there's an overflow vent pipe inside of the toilet tank, right? And that allows the water to flush properly into the bowl.
Yes.
Okay, so this fan has a special...
Now, for those listening, that tube that you see, if that's that tube, where does that tube go?
That tube actually, it actually goes to the tank. If you think about taking a Coke bottle full of water or Coke, and you try to turn it upside down,
yeah,
and it doesn't come out very quickly, does it? It just plop, plop,
right,
plop.
Right.
But if you were to poke a hole in that bottle,
yeah,
it would just pour right out. Well, that's what the overflow vent pipe does.
So when you flush it, that vent pipe allows air to infiltrate.
To go with it.
Yes, okay. That's what makes the water come out so quickly.
That's correct. And the odorless fan actually sits over that vent pipe.
And does
and
what?
It is sealed until you flush it.
It's sealed.
Yeah, so in other words, you have a seal where the air can be pulled through the holes on the bottom of the underside of the rim of your toilet where the water flushes through.
So when you're sitting in the toilet doing your thing, I don't know how to say this any more delicately, but when you're on the toilet, there is you're pulling air from from the holes that the water comes out of?
We're pulling air from the holes that the water comes out of, and then filtering that air through a special activated charcoal filter, which actually absorbs the microscopic odor particles.
And it really works.
Now,
this is something that begs the question. I have to ask this. what kind of a freaking laboratory do you have? Holy crap. I mean, seriously, how do you get your candidates? You walk out, look at some big gross guy and say, come here, I need to test something. I mean, how do you test it?
The first tester was my wife.
Oh, man, I could say something, but I won't. Okay, so what happened?
Well, so I said, honey, come here after I had built my first prototype, which you can actually see on Facebook on the Odorless. If you look for the Odorless on Facebook,
Yeah.
you'll see that funky picture of the prototype that I built a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And, and I would ask her, although because when you're an inventor, you believe in your idea, and that can cloud your judgment.
Yeah.
So I volunteered her at first.
Yeah, and it worked.
And it was working. It was working well, pretty well. It wasn't working as good as the current version does. But I do have to say some things, though. I mean, I can't take full responsibility for this model. We have a couple of incredible inventors overseas who came up with this concept.
Well, do you hold a patent?
They hold international patents, and we have provisional patents pending.
So hold on. So when you did this, you found someone who had done it better?
Well, let me tell you the whole story. Yes. I found somebody who did it better, and that was a godsend.
Okay.
These guys were a godsend. And they're two wonderful engineers in New Zealand, the tiny little country of New Zealand.
But they didn't know how to market, and you entered. They
didn't know how to market, and they had only gotten, I think, into Canada. That's as close as they got to the United States, and probably not even 200 units to a plumbing supply company or somebody who didn't care to sell the product.
Okay.
Because they were making more money on several other things or something. Don't quote me verbatim on that.
Yeah.
But something to that extent. And we've talked to that guy too. Really nice guy. But the original when we got theirs, and I'll just tell you, it's called the pan fan because they call it a pan over there.
Yeah.
It was extremely difficult to install on a toilet.
So did you help modify it?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
now, here's what I need to know. First of all, if people want to get a look at it, it's theodorless.com, right?
Yes, you go to theodorless.com.
Okay.
And in the middle of that homepage, you're going to see a button that will link you straight to the Kickstarter campaign.
Now, what is the Kickstarter campaign for, and what do people get?
Okay, so what Kickstarter is where somebody can take an idea and put it in front of the masses or a lot of people.
No, I understand that, to raise money.
Okay. Right, and if they like the idea, they'll back it, and they'll take a chance on the product.
But what do you get for that? Do you get ownership?
You get rewards. So in this case, you might get 50% off on the Odorless before it actually goes to market, starts selling after the Kickstarter campaign ends in 45 days.
How much will these units sell? How much are these units going to sell for?
The retail price is going to be $169.
Is there anything like it on the market? That's almost as expensive as a toilet itself, though, isn't it? No, not really.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you have a ventilation fan in your bathroom?
Yep.
Have you ever gone to look at a better ventilation fan because you thought it was supposed to be removing the odor and it wasn't doing it?
Right.
And how much have those ventilation fans been that you buy that aren't really made for removing odor?
Right. So this would be instead of replacing that ventilation fan.
That's right. And if you live in an apartment,
yes,
you can take this with you. You don't have to install it.
I want to take it with me to a hotel room.
Well, we're working on that. We're working on a portable version because most hotels have those pressurized tanks.
Yeah. But listen, so people go to theodorless.com and they can help raise money for you guys. And when is it going to be available on the market?
In 43 days, after the Kickstarter campaign ends, whether we're successful or not, which I think we're going to be, either way, we're going to bring this to market.
And we're going to have you back on when you kick it off.
Absolutely. I would love to be back on when we kick it off.
Okay, and we'll tell people where to buy them and how to buy them. Theodorless.com. Man, what a cool idea.